Thank you, Bob. Hello, drivers, and welcome to TLC. My name is Tamara Howell. I'm a Certified Director of Safety and one of the safety professionals here at TLC. I have been involved in the transportation industry for 26 years, and 10 years were spent as an over-the-road truck driver. I enjoyed being a truck driver as it gave me good knowledge and experience that I'm able to use as a safety professional at TLC, and I hope to pass some of this information on to you. Today, I will be talking about motor vehicle accidents. During your career as a professional driver, you will witness acts by other drivers that could have resulted in a motor vehicle accident. You may have witnessed a motor vehicle accident or yourself been involved in a motor vehicle accident. During the next 15 minutes, I will review with you some of the contributing factors that can cause a motor vehicle accident, the types of accidents, and review defensive driving principles to prevent an accident in the future. But before I start, if I would say to you, what is your definition of a motor vehicle accident? What would you say? An accident can be defined and broken into three categories. The first, a crash, which is a collision or similar incident involving a motor vehicle resulting in property damage, personal injury, or death. A mishap, which is an unplanned and unfortunate event that results in damage, injury, or upset of some kind, and chance. It's just the way things happen without any planning, apparent cause, or deliberate intent. Now, these definitions do differ from the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration's. The FMCSA defines an accident as a fatality, injuries that are treated away from the accident scene, and disabling damage requiring a tow. Statistics from the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration and the American Trucking Association show that every 12 minutes, someone dies in a motor vehicle accident. Every 10 seconds, an injury occurs, and every 5 seconds, an accident occurs. The fatal crash rate for large trucks has surprising numbers. In the last 10 years, the miles traveled has increased by 14.8%. However, the fatal crash rate for trucks has decreased by 16.1%, and 80% of all fatal accidents were not the professional truck driver's fault. The fact remains that motor vehicle accidents continue to be the leading cause of accidental death and injury for all ages. When we talk about motor vehicle accidents, we also need to look at seatbelt use. The federal regulations require a driver to wear a seatbelt, but truck drivers continue to be amongst the largest group of drivers who do not wear seatbelts. Wearing a seatbelt prevents injuries and fatalities by preventing ejection and protecting your head and spinal column. I want to take a moment to tell you about a TLC client who had a driver involved in a single vehicle accident when his tractor and trailer lost control on icy roads and jackknifed. The driver was not wearing a seatbelt, he was ejected, and eventually killed. It only takes a second to click it, and the life you literally could save could be your own. Accidents such as this can have far-reaching financial and psychological effects on other employees, families, co-workers, and your employer. Did you know that 88% of commercial vehicle-involved fatal crashes are caused by driver behavior? The most common behaviors causing these crashes are improper lane use, distracted driving, speeding, failure to yield, following too closely, aggressive or reckless driving, stop sign and red light violations, and driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Today we will look at 3 of these contributing factors plus 1 not listed that can cause a motor vehicle accident. Of the behaviors mentioned above, what do you think is the #1 contributing factors in a fatal accident? If you said speeding, you are correct. The National Highway Transportation Safety Administration considers a crash to be speeding related if the driver was charged with a speeding related offense or if an officer indicated that driving too fast for conditions or exceeding the posted limit was a contributing factor in the crash. Let's take a second and test your knowledge of speed versus stopping distance with the following question. What is the safe stopping distance for a loaded commercial motor vehicle traveling at 40 miles an hour? Is it 250 feet, 169 feet, 124 feet, or 98 feet? The correct answer is 169 feet. That is more than 2 times the average length of a tractor trailer today. How'd you do? Let's take a look at one more scenario, but this time traveling at a greater speed. What would you say is the stopping distance of a loaded commercial motor vehicle traveling at 65 miles an hour? 525 feet, 279 feet, 412 feet, or 326 feet? The correct answer is 525 feet. That's about 1.5 football fields. These 2 examples show how speed plays a major factor in adequate stopping distance. Being a safety professional for TLC allows Bob, Tim, and me to travel extensively, and we have the opportunity to witness how drivers handle themselves out on the road. Just recently I was traveling and stuck in rush hour traffic and had the opportunity to witness a liquid tank driver who was in the fast lane and basically driving too fast for conditions. I had a Lexus in front of me that saw the opportunity to bop over into the fast lane and took it. The liquid tank driver had to literally slam on his brakes and literally came within feet of rear-ending the Lexus. Who do you think would have been at fault if he would have hit the Lexus? One could probably argue the Lexus, but in reality it would have been the truck driver because he was traveling too fast for the conditions that he was in. Speeding should never be considered normal driving behavior. You should adjust your speed and your driving conditions to whether it be for traffic, weather, and always give yourself needed time to get to your destination safely and without incident. Distracted driving. This is a factor that we deal with every day. Distracted driving can be defined as driving a vehicle while engaging in an activity that has the potential to distract the driver from the task of driving. Distracted drivers are estimated to be a factor in 25 to 30% of all accidents. That's 4,000 or more accidents a day. While taking your eyes off the road presents obvious risks, activities that take your mind away from driving are just as risky. Common distractions include using your cell phone, even when using Bluetooth or hands-free, adjusting the climate or radio controls, eating, we've all done it, or reading directions. Your ability to manage distractions will vary and change from day to day depending on your level of stress and fatigue. You may fail to recognize potential hazards in the road and react more slowly to traffic conditions, which decreases your margin of safety and increases your risk for rear-end accident or single vehicle accident. Although these activities may seem harmless, you may engage in these activities daily, but can you answer yes to any of these questions? Have you ever been so involved in a cell phone conversation that you missed your exit? Have you ever taken your eyes off the road to put in a CD or audiobook? Have you ever had to reach for your coffee mug or pop because it tipped over when you went over a bump? Have you ever had to read directions because you're driving to a new customer? There will always be distractions, but it's how you handle the distraction that determines whether you may become involved in a motor vehicle accident. Aggressive driving is a third factor that I want to talk to you about. You may be an aggressive driver and not even know it. When you're driving down the road, are you just driving like everyone else? Or are you driving aggressively? Drivers that behave irresponsibly and irrationally while operating a motor vehicle put themselves and other drivers at risk. Aggressive tailgating, rude gestures, deliberate obstruction can all constitute aggressive driving. In a National Nerves of Steel survey, Americans define the following as aggressive driving. Tailgating was at the top of the list, closely followed by making rude gestures, letting another driver know that you're number one in their book, passing on the shoulder, changing lanes without signaling, driving 10 miles per hour or more under the posted speed limit, and this can be seen with somebody who is tailgating. Some law enforcement also considered excessive speed, frequent or unsafe lane change, failure to yield the right-of-way, and disregarded traffic controls as aggressive driving. It is important to remember that you are a rolling billboard for your company. How you drive and react to other motorists tells them what type of professional driver you are. Stay focused on your driving, maintain your stopping distance, stay to the right, and don't let other motorists dictate how you are going to drive. We have reviewed how speeding, distracted driving, aggressive driving can all contribute to an accident. Let's look at one more factor. Driver fatigue and drowsy driving. When you violate the hours of service and drive excessive hours, you significantly increase your risk of being involved in a motor vehicle accident. The National Transportation Safety Board concluded in one study that 52% of 107 single vehicle accidents involving heavy trucks were fatigue related. Do you know the warning signs of driving drowsy or being fatigued? Some common signs are: you don't remember the last few miles driven. You hit the rumble strip or drift out of your lane. You yawn repeatedly. Or you may have trouble focusing, keeping your heads up, and your eyes open. If you're tired and are in danger of falling asleep, then you cannot predict when a microsleep will occur. A microsleep is a brief 2 to 3 second sleep episode that is usually seen in drivers with sleep apnea. Sleep apnea affects 28% of all commercial truck drivers, and if left untreated, can cause excessive daytime sleepiness, which impairs judgment, causes attention deficits, slows reaction time, and decreases alertness. It also greatly increases your chance for being involved in a fatigue-related motor vehicle accident. What can you do to combat driver fatigue? As a driver, you need to be aware of your behaviors and the behaviors of others on the road during the late night, early morning, mid-afternoon, and when drowsy driving accidents are more likely to occur. Get a full night's rest. If you become tired while driving, take 15 to 45-minute break. Yes, you may lose a little time, but it's better than having to pull your truck out of the ditch because you fell asleep. Set realistic goals for yourself and a number of miles you can drive each day, and avoid taking medications that may cause drowsiness. As a driver, you may not be able to control delivery schedules, but you can control when to sleep so that you are an alert and safe driver. Now that we've identified some of the contributing factors that can lead to an accident, what are the most common types of accidents and causes of injuries that we see at TLC and nationally? Rear-end collision, ran off the road, lane change or sideswipe, rollover and upsets, turning and hit an object in the road. At least one of the contributing factors that we just reviewed and by one or more parties involved caused some of these accidents. Okay, so now that you know what the factors into having an accident, how do you prevent one from happening in the first place? 2 words: defensive driving. The National Safety Council defines defensive driving as driving to save lives, time, and money in spite of the conditions around you and the actions of others. Defensive driving is a style of driving that advocates paying attention to everything around you and being able to identify potential hazards before you are put into a dangerous situation. Driving defensively will reduce your likelihood of being involved in a motor vehicle accident. The principles of defensive driving are simple and include: pay attention and be alert. As a driver, you have the advantage to look ahead and potentially see above other vehicles to spot things in the road like construction, a disabled vehicle, or a vehicle that may be driving erratically. You should be looking down the road and not just what's in front of you. Avoid tunnel vision. Plan and anticipate. Keep your eyes moving and plan how to handle a dangerous situation on the roadway from other motorists, weather, and generally avoiding hazards whenever possible. Obey the law. You cannot drive defensively if you're speeding, tailgating, or otherwise engaging in a dangerous driving habit. A defensive driver will use their turn signals, headlights, horn, and flashers. Be a good driver and use good judgment. Good drivers are familiar with their vehicle and know how it will handle if a dangerous situation occurs. They don't make risky maneuvers like trying to beat a red light or trying to pass unless it's safe. You should watch the space around you and leave yourself an out. Too many times when I drove, I would see trucks group. Don't group. When you group, you are losing your way out. Moreover, by practicing these simple principles, you will become a better professional driver, and you will reduce your likelihood of being involved in a preventative motor vehicle accident. Before I go, I just have one last statistic to throw at you. Motor vehicle accidents cost $60 billion annually in medical costs, legal expenses, property damage, and lost productivity. On average, an accident will cost an employer $16,500. When an employee has an on-the-job accident that results in an injury, that cost to their employer is $74,000. And costs can well exceed $500,000 when there is a fatality involved. I would like to thank you for your time today and to remind you to take proactive, positive measures. No one knows what tomorrow will bring. Bad accidents happen and will continue to happen. Don't be one of them, whether it is the 3 areas that we discussed or other types of accidents. Be a leader, make good decisions, don't follow the wrong crowd. Ingrain a good safety culture and participate in the TLC Top Dog program and be rewarded for remaining accident and injury free. Or you can just change professions. Safety doesn't happen by accident. This concludes another fine segment of training from TLC companies on injury prevention. Take the knowledge that we have discussed and use it to prevent being injured by a slip, trip, fall, material handling, or motor vehicle accident. On behalf of Bob, Tim, and me, thank you for watching and listening. Goodbye.